Ukraine and its partners, NATO, independent journalists and other NGOs have all presented evidence of Russian soldiers and troops in Ukraine. This has left other nations in Europe wondering how they can respond to this threat. And here in the studio today, we have Dr. Gustav Gressel. He's from the European Council of Foreign Relations. So, Dr. Gustav Gressel, thank you very much for coming into Ukraine today.
Thank you.
So I wanted to ask you, first of all, the Baltic states have recently been ramping up their military exercises in response to the intervention in Ukraine by Russian forces and the militant forces. How serious is the Russian military threat to the rest of Europe now?
Well, the Russian military threat has been ignored over the last decade. The problem is that there is a considerable Russian threat. If you take the overall numbers, of course, Europe is militarily superior if, and now I'm using two if it would be politically united, and if the numbers that are in fact out there on paper are also in practice available for military operations. So far, the European response, especially in NATO, setting up very high and rapid reaction forces is encouraging. The message basically in the capital is got that they have to do something. Defense matters. It's not a hobby for national security anymore. It's something that is really of substance. And politically, so far Europe has been quite united on the response to Russia.
I see. And in Europe now, there's a lot of austerity, a lot of cuts going on, especially in Greece, also in Italy and Spain. So the crisis in Ukraine and defense spending, is this a priority or has it been put on the back burner now?
Well, it is a priority the further east you go. If you are in Warsaw, the crisis is taken far more seriously than in Athens. Then there is the other situation that, for example, with the collapse of Libya, with the collapse of Syria, with the war against ISIS, with the instability in the Sahel zone, with the insecurity on the Arabian Peninsula, with the Yemen situation, especially the southern neighbors are still very much looking at the Mediterranean in terms of security politics. The thing here is it's hard to convince the Europeans that their security is indivisible. We cannot let the southern periphery go wasted, just as we cannot just ignore Ukraine. They're both determinants of the European security situation, and we have to take care of both of them.
And moving on to NATO, a lot of military analysts said before the crisis in Ukraine, NATO didn't really have a mission. It was a bit lost, and now it's come together because of this. But do you think they are a real force now, or do you think they're still not quite sure about what their mission is in Europe?
Putin has united Europe and has reinvigorated NATO as an important force or an important organization for European security. Basically, there couldn't have been a better help for NATO. The expeditionary scenarios, the expeditionary warfare out-of-area operations were not accepted or not well accepted by all the members. There is still a difference in culture, whether you are rather expeditionary, rather focused towards national defense, but the gap is closing in rapidly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, excellent. Dr. Gustav Gressel, thank you very much.
Welcome.